Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today is August 4th, 2015. Yesterday, August 3rd, Obama gave a speech on why he is making so many drastic changes with regards to measures that impact global climate. And his remarks come on the back of the Pope, who's been speaking out about the climate, and they sync up very well with the French foreign minister's remarks of May 13, 2014, now more than a year ago, of the world having 500 days to avoid climate chaos, emphasis on the CC33. That phrase, too, that they put the emphasis on, as they love to do in Gematria, has concerning numerology of 119, a lot like September 11th. And with the S exceptions, it sums to 137, the 33rd prime number, which makes sense because we're talking about CC33 climate chaos. If we add in the 500, which just becomes plus 5, it sums to 124 and 142. Interesting numbers. The word terrorist sums to 142, and the only real terrorists that I know of in this world are the people in high places who constantly put this fear mongering in our minds through their global outlets, the television, the radio, magazines, newspapers, etc. 500 days to avoid climate chaos, says Laurent Fabius. The numerology of the date that he made the remarks, May 13th, 2014, is a date with 52 numerology, which connects to Pope, who's visiting on the Day of Atonement. We'll get more to that. Just wanted to make that point. There's going to be a lot of 52 in this post. The Pope was recently, front page story on CNN, saying, "Our home is being ruined." This has gematria of 114, and with the S exception, it would sum to 123, like conspiracy. And notice he's coming to visit the 114th Congress, which he was invited by, led by John Boehner, who also has named gematria of 114. Our home is being ruined. The president just gave his speech on the climate. The Pope is coming to speak about climate and more in Congress. John Boehner says Pope Francis' visit will be September 24th, which is 7 years to the day of George W. Bush, the 43rd president, giving his economic speech about how the government needed a bailout program to save banks and some other big lenders. Remember this? Taking all the taxpayer money to bail out the corporate frauds. That was September 24th, 2008. The 7-year anniversary is the day the Pope's coming. The Pope is talking about capitalism being evil, the climate being on the brink of disaster, and more on this date. And also, it should be noted that we're in the year of the Shemitah, which in the Jewish faith is the year that God comes to take care of debts. And in the faith, there's something called the Super Shemitah, which happens every 49 years. We're in the year of the Super Shemitah right now. The last one was the year 66, the year of the first Super Bowl. What's interesting is that in the Jewish faith, the year that follows the Super Shemitah is the Jubilee year, another important thing in their faith. And this year, San Francisco, home of the 49ers, is hosting Super Bowl 50. San Francisco and Pythagorean gematria equals 50. They're hosting Super Bowl 50. And with regards to 50 in simple English gematria, Truth Seeker, 50 sums to 66. The first Super Bowl was in the year 66. The last year, there was a Super Shemitah. I just bring all this up because if you're new here, we live in a numerological web. All this stuff being waged against us, all this propaganda in the media, all these fake sports games that are rigged and determined before they even begin, they're all done by the numbers. They're all done in what I'm showing. I understand how somebody can come here and go, whoa, what are you talking about? This is crazy sauce, but If you pay attention, you'll see that this is really what's going on. In the year of the first Super Bowl, 66, the Church of Satan was also established in San Francisco. In San Francisco, the Church of Satan, in that same year, the first Super Bowl. 50 years later, San Francisco is hosting the Super Bowl and the Jubilee. And think about Pope Francisco. We'll talk more about it, Truth Seeker. So with regards to Pope Francis coming into town, he's also visiting Philadelphia. And earlier this year, there was a train wreck in Philadelphia at 9:23 p.m. 9:23 is a lot like the date September 23rd. And recently, there was a train wreck in Johannesburg, Africa, where 239 people were injured. 23/9, also another way to write September 23rd. And Johannesburg has gematria of 134, just like the number of days from the May 12th train wreck to the day the Pope visits. And notice the day of that train wreck was the day after the 500 days till climate chaos. That was May 13th, 2014. If you write out May 12th in letters, if you write it out as a word, May 12th, it sums to 133. May 13th is the 133rd day. Maybe just coincidence, maybe not. Maybe this is part of the reason these things are synced up as they are and how it's all plotted and planned. September 23rd is the 266th day of the year. Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. So get this, Truth Seeker. With regards to Pope, it has gematria 52. And 52 years before 2015 was the year 63. In that year, there was a Pennsylvania train crash, like the Philadelphia train wreck of this year. There was a Southern black church bombing, kind of like the Charleston black church shooting. They were the worst acts of terrorism in a black church, 52 years apart, both coded with the number 106, the number of prophecy. And then later that year, there was the assassination of a president. John F. Kennedy, the 44th term president. Obama is the 44th president. The first president to die in office died on 4/4, like Martin Luther King Jr. Pope Francis, shortly after announcing he would come to the United States, said he doesn't expect to be Pope that long. In February, it was announced he was coming to the U.S. in September. In March, he says he doesn't expect to be Pope for all that long. He made that announcement to a Mexican TV network. Pope Francis became Pope on 3/13/13, an interesting date in itself. A date with 49 numerology, the number of revelation, very much connected to the Philadelphia train crash. Philadelphia, that name comes from Revelation in the Bible. Anyhow, from that date to September 23rd is a span of 924 days. Kind of like September 24th, the day following his visit, or the beginning of his visit, and the day he speaks to Congress. He speaks to Congress about climate problems September 24th. Notice that's also a span of 132 weeks. May 12th is the 132nd day of the year. The day the train crash was at 9:23 p.m. See how this all syncs up? The train was traveling 106 miles per hour. Again, the word prophecy equals 106. In the United States, speaking illy of capitalism is almost like sacrilegious among certain people. I know this because I've spoken out against capitalism all my life. I see what a Ponzi scheme it is. The majority of people in this world are victims of capitalism, whether they realize it or not. But anyway, these headlines, it's not that the Pope really cares about capitalism. He's just another actor, agent playing his part. But this is all building the storyline of whatever they got planned for us, you know? Say some conservative extremist or whatever did it. If this is a storyline they want to go with. But these headlines are coded as well. The gematria is on the screen. The Pope also, in his 22 location speaking tour in South America, remember 22 books in Revelation, he used this phrase, dung of the devil, which has very interesting gematria in Pythagorean 71, matching the word Catholic, which is connected to the number 144. The Pope's visiting September 23rd, the day of Yom Kippur, the day of atonement, the day of repenting for your sins. This is how all this stuff syncs up on a political and spiritual level. The people who map this out consider all of this. Since I was a young teenager, I've thought if anything horrible ever happens to us as a society, it will have been deserved for all the wrongdoing we ignored. From the way we abuse the resources of the planet, to the way we abuse each other, to the way we tune out truth. Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. See, the Pope's been making big talk lately. Making some big headlines. This James Martin S.J. in Gematria sums to 44, Truth Seeker. That's concerning because the last Pope to die while Pope died after 33 days of being the Pope. And he died on a date with 44 numerology, the kill number. And he's coming to the 114th Congress, the 44th president. JFK, the 44th term president, was assassinated from 411 Elm Street. 411 equals assassin in Jewish gematria. Even the Catholic News got upset with the Pope when he was calling people cowards. Catholic News asked the crowd, is the priest talking too much? The narrative's been built, Truth Seeker. Also, with all this focus on 52 and 144, which is something I've been pointing out all year, long before I even understood it, connected to September 23rd. 52, the 52nd prime number is 239, 23/9. Just one more connection to that date, September 23rd, the date the 266th Pope visits. The factors of 923, also like September 23rd, very interesting numbers. 71 equals Catholic, which is connected to 144. Just so many things line up for this one. A fellow user contributor wrote this: Pope Francis sums to 122. The 122nd Pope was John X, who was Pope in the year 923. A lot like the date September 23rd. It's also the 239th year. That's a good point. The United States turned 239 years old this year on July 4th. And he makes this last point. The Declaration of Independence actually signed on August 2nd. Just 2 days ago, 1776, which is 52 days before September 23rd. John X has that gematria of 71 like Catholic as well. Also, with regards to the Pope and Obama's birthday's August 4th today. Obama in Jewish gematria sums to 84. And look at what day the Pope's born, December 17th, 1936, a date with a connection to 84 himself. The word Savior has gematria of 84. So does Jesuit. And a lot of my critics say, why don't I talk about Jesuits more? The reason I don't talk about Jesuits as much as maybe I should is because I think they're under the same umbrella as the Freemasons. Maybe I'm mistaken there. But regardless, they're all intertwined. They're all working against us. It all needs to be exposed. Masons, Jesuits, all of it. Also, Truth Seeker, we've been getting all these bogus stories about this Philae comet lander done several videos on it. It's all been by the numbers. But there was a day where they made a big deal about it waking up saying hello, and that came 101 days before the Pope's visit. The word assassin in simple English gematria sums to 101, in Jewish gematria 411. Also, hello and Pope both equal 52. It just makes me wonder. The Pope's also visiting Philadelphia, which kind of sounds like Philae. Philae is one of these 33 words. There's just a lot of suspicious things there to me. Let's see. Check to make sure there wasn't anything I missed, Truth Seeker. There's a lot of things interesting with Day of Atonement. It's got the kill gematria. Let's see. You know what? I want to make a major transition here, Truth Seeker. I want to show you something. There's this movie called Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer. It came out last year, June 27th, 2014. This is going to be connected to what we're talking about with the climate. If you haven't seen this movie, check this out. It begins with this screenshot right here that I'm showing you. Planes come across the sky, they're spraying the sky, just like they spray the sky these days with chemtrails, and somehow the blind sheep will deny it. It's unbelievable. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, they spray the hell out of the sky. This never used to happen before. The blue sky will be completely blocked out by all the spray, and people will tell me it's normal, they've always done this. I'm saying, what? Since when? I only saw this starting 5 years ago, but it's really picked up its pace in the last 5 years. Anyway, this movie starts just like how they spray our skies. And then the next thing it says is, soon after dispersing CW7, the world froze. All life became extinct. Except for the people who were on this train, which was cutting technology. We'll get to that. But what I want you to notice is CW7. C is the 33rd letter. W is the 23rd. 7 is 7. C plus W is 26. Plus 7 is 33. Like climate chaos, CC33, the number that they love to code into all their doings. This film runs 2 hours and 6 minutes, kind of like 26, the God number. Remember, the English alphabet is 26 letters in length. The word God is God, 7 plus 15 plus 4. The God number in gematria is much older than the English language. But also, check this out, Truth Seeker. 2 hours and 6 minutes is 126 minutes. If you sum A through Z with Pythagorean gematria, it sums to 126. If you haven't seen this movie, please watch it. I don't want to ruin it for you, but what it's about is this train with the last survivors on Earth, and it's very long, and there's all sorts of classes of people. The people who are kept in the back of the train are kind of like the slaves. In the end, you find out that the reason that the slaves are even kept alive is just so that their children can be stolen and used for the positions they're needed. In the beginning of this movie, a young black child is stolen. You find out in the end of the movie what the purpose is for. But also, at the end of this movie, what they find out, the people on the back of the train, is that what seemed impossible was entirely possible and even more. You should really check out this movie. It's well done. It's done by this Zionist gang, but it's still worth seeing because if you're in the right frame of mind, this movie can be inspirational. It's also about a train wreck. Remember, we were talking about the Philadelphia train wreck at 9:23, forecasting the Pope. Check this out, though, Truth Seeker. Like I said, in the beginning of the movie, a black child is stolen. They play a crucial role in keeping the train rolling. I just want to show you something. This title, Snowpiercer, in Pythagorean gematria sums to 64. Just like the name Barack Hussein Obama. Just like civil rights. Remember the 64 Civil Rights Act? Obama was born just before the Civil Rights Act in 61. Think about how the Civil Rights Act sums to 64 in gematria and was passed in 64. The face of the Civil Rights Act was Martin Luther King Jr., who died on April 4th. Kind of like 44. April 4th is 44. 44. Notice how April 4th and 44 both sum to 144 in gematria. I will remind you that John F. Kennedy died as the 44th term president, last president to die in office. The first president to die in office was William Henry Harrison, who died April 4th as well. Show you something about the name John F. Kennedy, Truth Seeker. John F. Kennedy sums to 59. And why this is interesting is that in Jewish gematria, kill sums to 59. And in simple English gematria, kill sums to 44. 44. So JFK had some fateful numbers on him, just like Barack Hussein Obama does. And again, these numbers connect to this movie title, which seems to sync up very well with events happening right now in this world. From Obama's speech to what the Pope's saying to this French foreign minister's prediction, which is coming true right about now. The day HBO added this movie to their on-demand, if you have HBO, you can watch this movie right now, was the same day that the media broke this story. I kid you not. This is what it's like watching the world through my eyes, True Seeker. I noticed that movie came out, and then I saw these headlines in the same day. Is a mini ice age on the way? And I thought, what in the world? This is just all part of how they wage their madness against us. So, True Seeker, just realize that what is happening in this world, it's all very purposeful, it's all by design, and we as awake people, what we have to do, what our obligation is to spread this truth and stop participating in their systems as much as possible. Also, since a young age, I have been imploring the rule of we all need to do our part to make this world better, so I've changed my diet, I've reduced my consumption, I've tried to minimize my footprint on this world as much as possible because I know that, no matter what's true about the climate, what they present to us, it is true that we're destroying the planet through consumption and pollution. For example, we have things as big as states and small countries floating in the ocean that are garbage piles. And when you look at the way, all of us as individuals throw away packaging, it only makes sense that this has happened at this day and age. And that's why we all need to change our ways. We need to get back to local agriculture, less packaging. I think all the solutions for this world are really very simple changes away. And hopefully it doesn't take a catastrophe to get there, but it very well might. And I think that might be why they're giving us movies such as Snowpiercer. Also, True Seeker, with regards to movies, in the year 98, the word prophet equals 98. The word prophecy equals 106. We're seeing these numbers coded together a lot, 98 and 106. This movie came out called Deep Impact. And it was directed by Mimi Leder, someone with a 4444 name. The comet in the movie is called Biederman. Why this is interesting is because in the movie, the president of the United States is a black man played by Morgan Freeman. And think about how Obama's the 44th president. The now named Tom Beck also has gematria of 33. All sorts of coding in this movie. Even in the movie when the comet is discovered, True Seeker, it's on a day with 33 numerology, kind of like climate chaos. This movie is about an impact, which also makes us think of that Philae comet lander story. Remember that the movie Armageddon came out at the same time as this Deep Impact. And also, with regards to Morgan Freeman, he has a connection to Obama himself. The day he's born on. June 1st, 37, a date with 44 numerology. He has a life number of 27, just like how today's date, Obama's 54th birthday, has a connection to that same number, 27. Today has numerology of 27, a fateful number, often having to do with death. They say Morgan Freeman's acting career began in the year 64, 1964 to present. Another connection to the name Barack Hussein Obama. So that's pretty much the message. I just want to show you how all this climate talk, it might all sync up with whatever they have planned for us this September when the train might come off the tracks. Don't forget about that recent train wreck shooting movie. For those of you who are new here and haven't seen my train wreck shooting movie, I'll just close with this for one last taste of how they're coding September 23rd. In that movie Trainwreck, it stars LeBron James, who's never starred in a movie before. His name in Jewish gematria sums to 923, kind of like how the Philadelphia train wreck happened at 9:23 p.m. The man who shot up the theater is named John Russell Hauser. He shot up the premiere of the movie Trainwreck. Notice how his name in simple English gematria sums to 239. 23/9, another tribute to the day September 23rd. And what's interesting about Trainwreck and it lining up with that date that Pope Francis comes is that Trainwreck sums to 122 and Pope Francis sums to 122. Don't let any of this information worry you. Just use it as knowledge is power. And with regards to that movie I was just talking about, Snowpiercer, it actually has a really happy ending. And in a way, I really relate with that ending because I want to think, if we ever come to a bad day, it will end up the way it ends in that movie. All right, Truth Seeker, that's pretty much the extent of the message. We will find out soon enough if our home really is being ruined, All right, until next time. Encore Truth Seeker, I just want to close by showing the death of the 33-day Pope, Pope John Paul I. He has a connection to Pope Francis. So he died September 28th, 1978. This date with 44 numerology, again on his 33rd day as being Pope. This is the kill number. Also, this date has a connection to the number 115, which is what killing in Jewish gematria sums to. Also, if we added in the 19, this would sum to 134. I'll remind you that the Philadelphia train wreck happened 134 days before the Pope's visit, and it now connects with the Johannesburg train wreck that hurt 239 people because Johannesburg has gematria of 134. All of this stuff might very well be connected. Pope John Paul I's real name was Albino Luciani with gematria of 122, just like Pope Francis. And Pope Francis's real name is Jorge Bergoglio, which has Jewish gematria matching the number 44, the kill number. And again, he's coming to visit the 44th president as well. Other things that are interesting about September, the Pope will be here from September 23rd to the 27th, is that it has the gematria of 49, the number of revelation, where a lot of this coding comes from. The date September 28th has numerology connections to 105 and 114. This is the day after the Pope leaves. It's the day of the fourth and final blood moon. And just notice that blood moon has gematria of 105, and the final blood moon falls on September 28th. There's been a lot of 105 coding lately. With regards to the recent church funeral, Obama sung Amazing Grace, which has gematria of 105, and the man who sung that, or not sung it, who wrote that song, has a birthday of August 4th, just like the current president, who turns 54 today. 54 has a numerology of 9. If Obama dies in office, he will be the 9th president to do so. He was at that funeral for 9 people 9 days after it happened, June 26th. And what's interesting about the date June 26th is that it kind of looks like 266. Again, September 23rd is the 266th day. Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. Big day in the nation's history. Obama at the funeral singing. Also, major gay marriage ruling by the Supreme Court. Possibly connecting to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. The date the Pope leaves on, September 27, 2015, is a date with 71 numerology, which again connects to Catholic, which connects to the number 144. If nothing is to happen between September 23rd and September 27th, 28th, the next place my eyes are moving to is the upcoming Super Bowl. Because what I know, Truth Seeker, is these people do intend to strike, we just don't know when. So all we can do is follow their clues. And from the date the Pope leaves until the date of the Super Bowl is a curious span of dates. And there has been more foreshadowing for San Francisco destruction than anything else at this time. And again, think of Pope Francis and San Francisco. And also, like we just said, San Francisco in light of the Supreme Court ruling. Golden State also has gematria of 122. San Francisco on the 122nd meridian. See how it all syncs up, Truth Seeker? All right. Long post. Until next time.